Campus Placements. The 50 must-know interview questions for CA freshers with advice, plus sample answers for every question. Tell me about yourself. Advice while answering. Keep it structured. 30 to 40 seconds max. Focus on background, key articleship experience, strengths, and what you want next. Avoid reading your CV line by line. End with why you're a good fit for the role. Sample answer. I'm a recently qualified chartered accountant. I completed my articleship at a mid-sized firm where I worked across audit, GST, and management reporting. Over time, I realized I enjoy analyzing numbers and improving processes. I bring strong analytical skills, solid fundamentals, and a calm approach to deadlines. Right now, I'm looking for a role where I can apply my training, learn from seniors, and contribute to high-quality financial work. Why did you choose the Chartered Accountancy path? Advice while answering. Show clarity and genuine interest, not, my parents told me. Connect CA skills to long-term ambition. Sample answer. I chose CA because I've always enjoyed understanding how businesses work behind the scenes. The curriculum forces you to master accounting, tax, audit, and finance, all core pillars of decision-making. I wanted a qualification that is rigorous and respected. And now I want to use that foundation to create real business impact. And now I want to use that foundation to create real business impact. And now I want to use that foundation to create real business impact. Welcome to the Chartered Accountancy path. And now I want to use that foundation to create real business impact. And now I want to use that foundation to create real business impact. What motivated you to apply to our company/role? Advice while answering. Show that you researched the company. Mention culture, industry, growth, or role responsibilities. Sample answer. I applied because your company is known for strong governance and a high-quality finance function. The role combines analysis, reporting, and cross-functional work, areas I genuinely enjoy. I want to learn from experienced teams and contribute to a company that is scaling professionally. Where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Advice while answering. Be ambitious, but realistic. Focus on skills, not fancy titles. Sample answer. In 5 years, I see myself as a well-rounded finance professional, someone who is strong in analysis, reporting, and business partnering. I want to build depth in financial planning and contribute meaningfully to business decisions. Titles will follow when skills and impact are strong. What are your greatest strengths? Advice. While answering, pick 2 to 3 strengths. Back each with a tiny example. Sample answer. My key strengths are attention to detail and structured thinking. During audit, I caught a long-standing revenue recognition error because I double-checked an unusual trend. I'm also calm under deadlines. Month-end close and tax season taught me that. What is one weakness you're working on? Advice while answering. Choose a real weakness, not a fake one. Always show improvement steps. Sample answer. One weakness I'm improving is over-checking my work. I sometimes spend extra time trying to make everything perfect. Recently, I've been using checklists and setting internal time limits, which has helped me balance accuracy with speed. Describe a time when you faced a challenge during your articleship and how you handled it. Advice while answering. Use STAR. Situation, task, action, result. Highlight ownership and learning. Sample answer. During statutory audit, we had a tight deadline because the client delayed data. I broke the work into clear tasks, coordinated with team members, and followed up with the client daily. We completed the audit on time and improved our request list for next year. The experience taught me proactive communication. End of. Tell us about a time you worked effectively in a team. Advice while answering. Show teamwork, communication, and accountability. Sample answer. During tax audit season, our team had multiple clients closing in the same week. We divided the workload based on strengths. I handled reconciliation and data checks. I kept the senior updated and supported teammates when they were stuck. We completed all filings before the deadline with 0 queries. End quote. Describe an instance where you made an error. What did you learn? Advice while answering. Be honest. Describe the fix and what changed afterward. Sample answer. Early in my articleship, I misclassified a ledger entry in a working paper. When the senior pointed it out, I corrected it immediately and started using a validation checklist. Since then, my error rate dropped significantly. It taught me to slow down and verify before finalizing. That's all. How do you prioritize tasks when multiple deadlines coincide? Advice while answering. Show structure. Mention urgency, importance, stakeholder impact, and time management. Sample answer. When deadlines collide, I first list all tasks and mark them by urgency and importance. Then I check stakeholder dependencies, what others need from me. I communicate timelines clearly and break work into smaller chunks. This ensures quality doesn't drop even when timelines are tight. End. What do you know about our company and why do you want to join? Advice while answering. Show research. Products, services, culture, recent news, or industry standing. Then connect it to your goals and learning plan. Avoid generic lines like, "Your company is reputed." Sample answer. I read about your strong presence in the manufacturing and consumer segment, and the focus on digital transformation in finance. Your recent expansion into global operations shows long-term stability and growth. I want to join because the role offers exposure to financial reporting, analysis, and cross-functional work, areas where I want to build expertise and contribute meaningfully. How do you keep yourself updated with changes in finance, accounting, or technology? Advice while answering. Mention specific sources. ICAI, MCA announcements, RBI updates, newsletters, podcasts, or LinkedIn creators. Show curiosity and consistency. Sample answer. I follow ICAI announcements, MCA notifications, and key audit tax circulars. For broader updates, I read finance newsletters and follow professionals who share practical insights. I also explore new tools like Power BI and automation basics to stay relevant as finance becomes more tech-driven. Stop there. Have you ever led a small project or initiative? What was the outcome? Advice while answering. Even small leadership counts. An audit section, a tax project, a workflow improvement. Show initiative and impact. Sample answer. Yes, during my articleship, I led a small initiative to streamline our client data request list. I reorganized it by priority, added clarity, and coordinated with the team. This reduced back and forth with clients and cut our review time by almost 20%. It taught me how small improvements can make a big difference. How do you handle working under pressure? Advice while answering. Don't say, "I never feel pressure." Share your method. Planning, checklists, calm communication. Sample answer. I handle pressure by breaking work into clear steps and setting realistic mini deadlines. I communicate early if something needs alignment and avoid last-minute surprises. During audit season and month-end close, this approach helped me stay organized and deliver consistently. What is your expectation of your mentor or manager in the first year? Advice while answering. Show maturity. Ask for guidance, not hand-holding. Sample answer. I expect clarity on expectations, timely feedback, and opportunities to learn. I don't need micromanagement, just direction on priorities and the right way to approach tasks. In return, I'll stay proactive, ask relevant questions, and deliver high-quality work. How do you deal with feedback or criticism? Advice while answering: show openness, not defensiveness. Mention a real situation if possible. Sample answer: I see feedback as part of professional growth. Whenever I receive criticism, I note the specifics, ask clarifying questions, and apply the suggestions in my next task. This approach helped me improve documentation quality during audit. Why should we hire you instead of another CA fresher? Advice while answering: don't put others down. Focus on your strengths, mindset, and readiness to learn. Sample answer: you should hire me because I bring strong fundamentals, reliable execution, and a willingness to learn fast. During Articleship, I handled responsibilities independently and maintained high accuracy. I'm consistent, curious, and able to adapt quickly. Qualities that help a fresher contribute from day one. That's it. Tell us about a situation where you had to communicate a complex idea to someone without a finance background. Advice while answering: show clarity, simplification, and empathy. Use a short example. Sample answer: during an internal audit, I had to explain inventory valuation differences to the store manager. Instead of using accounting terms, I explained it using simple examples of purchase price, selling price, and unsold stock. This helped him understand the gap and correct the process. It taught me the value of simplifying concepts. What are your salary expectations? Advice while answering: don't quote a random number. Adhere to market standards. Show flexibility. Sample answer: I'm aware of the typical salary range for CA freshers in campus placements. For me, the right learning environment and growth path matter more than a specific number. I'm comfortable with the compensation structure your company usually offers for this role. Do you have any questions for us? Advice while answering: never say no questions. Ask about role clarity, KPIs, team structure, not salary. Sample answer: yes, I do. I'd like to know, what does success in this role look like in the first 6 months? How does the finance team collaborate with other departments? What opportunities exist for skill development and learning? These questions show curiosity and seriousness. Great. Continuing with the same interview ready, advisor style, sample answer format. Here are the technical, role-specific questions, 21 to 30. We'll continue all the way to 50 once you approve this block. Technical, role-specific questions. Part 1 to question number 30. What are the golden rules of accounting? Advice while answering: keep it super crisp. Interviewers want to see conceptual clarity, not textbook recitation. State the 3 rules and give one tiny example. Sample answer: the 3 golden rules are: 1. Debit what comes in, credit what goes out, for real accounts. 2. Debit the receiver, credit the giver, for personal accounts. 3. Debit all expenses and losses, credit all incomes and gains, for nominal accounts. For example, when we pay rent, we debit rent expense and credit cash. Explain the double entry system. Advice while answering: keep it simple. 1 transaction, 2 equal effects. Show you understand balance, not just the definition. Sample answer: the double entry system means every transaction has 2 sides, a debit and a credit, and both must balance. So if a company buys furniture for cash, furniture goes up and cash goes down. This system maintains accuracy, ensures the trial balance matches, and supports reliable financial statements. Anna. What is working capital? Why is it important? Advice while answering: break it into definition, formula, why it matters, tiny example. Sample answer: Working capital is the money a business needs for day-to-day operations. It's calculated as current assets minus current liabilities. It shows whether the company can meet short-term obligations. For example, if current assets are 10 lakh and current liabilities are 6 lakh, the working capital is 4 lakh, which indicates good short-term liquidity. What is depreciation and why is it charged? Advice while answering. Explain the logic, not just wear and tear. Interviewers want to see your understanding of matching principle. Sample answer. Depreciation spreads the cost of a fixed asset over its useful life. It's charged because the benefit of the asset is received over many years, so the expense must be matched to those years. For example, if you buy a machine for 5 lakh with a life of 5 years, you allocate 1 lakh expense each year under straight-line depreciation. Explain the difference between profit and cash flow. Advice while answering. Most freshers mix this up. You can stand out with one clean example. Sample answer. Profit is based on accounting rules. Cash flow is the actual movement of money. Profit includes non-cash items like depreciation and credit sales that may be collected later. Cash flow tracks real inflows and outflows. For example, if you make a credit sale of 1 lakh, profit increases today, but cash flow does not until the customer pays. End. What is variance analysis? How is it used? Advice while answering. This is a favorite in Big Four interviews. Explain what, why, and how. Sample answer. Variance analysis compares actual results with budget or forecast. It helps identify whether changes were due to volume, price, cost, or efficiency. FP&A and audit teams use it to explain performance and guide decisions. For example, if sales were budgeted at 10 lakh, but actuals are 12 lakh, we analyze how much came from higher volume versus higher pricing. What is a contingent liability, and how would you account for it? Advice while answering. Mention conditions and IND AS guidance, formerly IND AS. Keep it crisp. Sample answer. A contingent liability is a potential obligation that may arise depending on a future event, like a court case. If the likelihood of loss is probable and amount is estimable, we provide for it. If it's possible but not probable, we disclose it in notes. If it's remote, we don't record it. What is IND AS 115, and what are its key changes? Advice while answering. Don't go too deep. Focus on the 5-step model and revenue principles. Sample answer. IND AS 115 deals with revenue recognition. It introduced a 5-step model. 1. Identify the contract. 2. Identify performance obligations. 3. Determine transaction price. 4. Allocate price to obligations. 5. Recognize revenue when control transfers. The main change was shifting from risk and rewards to control-based revenue recognition. What are the modules of SAP you are aware of for CA in an IT ERP role? Advice while answering. Show basic familiarity. No need to go too technical. Sample answer. The key SAP modules I'm familiar with are FI for financial accounting, CO for controlling, MM for material management, and SD for sales and distribution. FI covers general ledger, AP, AR. CO deals with cost centers and internal orders. In my training and articleship exposure, I worked mainly with FI reports. How would you evaluate whether to invest in a stock? Basic framework. Advice while answering. Interviewers want a structured framework. Business, financials, valuation, risk. Sample answer. I evaluate a stock using 4 simple steps. 1. Business quality, product, management, competitive advantage. 2. Financial strength, revenue growth, margins, ROE, debt levels. 3. Valuation, PE, cash flows, industry comparisons. 4. Risks, regulation, competition, cyclicality. This gives a balanced view instead of relying only on price movements, etc. Explain GST briefly and why it's significant. Advice while answering: keep it high level unless asked to go deeper. Focus on what GST simplified and why companies care about it. Sample answer: GST, goods and services tax, is a unified indirect tax replacing VAT, service tax, excise, and others. It created one national market with a common tax structure. It's significant because it reduced cascading taxes, improved credit flow, and simplified compliance through systems like GSTR1, GSTR3B, and e-invoicing. For companies, this means better input tax credit management and fewer state-wise complexities. What are the roles and responsibilities of a CA in an organization? Advice while answering: interviewers want breadth, not just accounting. Mention reporting, compliance, controls, and business partnering. Sample answer: a CA contributes through financial reporting, budgeting, compliance, and internal controls. They analyze performance, support decision-making, and ensure statutory requirements are met. In many companies, CAs also work with cross-functional teams on cost optimization, forecasting, and risk management. The role goes beyond bookkeeping. It's about creating financial clarity. Tell me about a time you used Excel or any tool to simplify an accounting finance process. Advice: while answering, they want impact, not just "I used VLOOKUP." Show the before-after transformation. Sample answer: in my Articleship, our team manually reconciled vendor balances each month. I built a simple Excel template using SUMIFs and conditional formatting to automate matching. What earlier took 2 hours dropped to 20 minutes, and errors reduced significantly. This taught me how small automation can improve accuracy and save time. End quote. How do you approach auditing a new client for the first time? Advice while answering: structure matters. Understanding, planning, execution, reporting. Sample answer: my approach is 1. Understand the business model, key revenue streams, and major risks. 2. Review prior year working papers and discuss pain points with seniors. 3. Plan materiality and identify high-risk areas like revenue, inventory, or provisions. 4. Test controls, perform substantive procedures, and document findings. 5. Conclude with clear reporting and recommendations. This structured approach ensures coverage and efficiency. Ending. Thomas Adareta. Explain how you would handle a disagreement with a senior during audit articleship. Advice while answering: this tests maturity, communication, and professionalism. Sample answer: if I disagree, I first try to understand their reasoning fully. If I still see an issue, I share my perspective respectfully with facts and standards. If needed, I suggest checking with the manager for alignment. The goal is not to win, it's to ensure audit quality and maintain team harmony. End. What is amortisation versus depreciation? Advice while answering: define each, then show the difference quickly. Sample answer: depreciation is the allocation of the cost of tangible assets like machinery or buildings over their useful life. Amortisation applies the same concept to intangible assets like patents, trademarks, or software. Both spread cost over years, but depreciation is for physical assets and amortization is for intangible ones. How does foreign currency translation affect financial statements? Advice while answering: mention exchange differences, translation reserves, and impact areas. Sample answer: When a company has foreign operations, balances must be translated into the reporting currency. Income statement items use average rate. Balance sheet items use closing rate. Exchange differences often go into the Foreign Currency Translation Reserve, FCTR, under equity. This can impact net assets, profitability, and ratios depending on currency movement. Signed. Describe the difference between IFRS, IND AS, and previous standards. Advice while answering: focus on the shift in principles, not memorizing standards. Sample answer: IFRS and IND AS are principle-based, globally aligned standards, focusing on fair value, substance over form, and detailed disclosures. Earlier Indian GAAP was more rule-based and less focused on fair valuation. The new standards improve comparability with global companies and give investors more transparent information. What internal controls would you expect in a manufacturing company? Advice while answering: think of areas: inventory, purchases, production, sales, and cash. Sample answer: I would expect strong controls over procurement, PO approvals, vendor checks, inventory, GRN process, periodic physical counts, movement tracking, production, BOM, bill of materials accuracy, wastage monitoring, sales and dispatch, invoicing controls, dispatch documentation, finance, segregation of duties, bank reconciliations, approval workflows. These controls reduce fraud and ensure accurate costing. Signed. Would explain the key financial ratios you monitor as a CA. Advice while answering: pick categories: profitability, liquidity, leverage, efficiency. Sampled answer: I monitor ratios across 4 buckets: profitability, gross margin, net margin, ROE, ROCE, liquidity, current ratio, quick ratio, leverage, debt equity, interest coverage, efficiency, inventory days, receivable days, payable days. Together, these ratios show gross quality, solvency, and operational efficiency. How would you approach budgeting for a startup versus an established company? Advice while answering: show contrast, uncertainty versus stability. Interviewers want to see adaptability and logical thinking. Sample answer: for a startup, budgeting involves more uncertainty. I'd focus on cash burn, unit economics, and scenario-based assumptions. Projections would be shorter term and flexible because market and customer behavior evolve quickly. For an established company, I'd use historical data, stable trends, and department-level inputs. Budgets would be more predictable, detailed, and tied to long-term strategy. In summary, startups need agility. Established companies need structure. What is cost of capital and why is it important in decision-making? Advice while answering: explain components: debt cost, equity cost, WACC. Connect it to valuation and investment choices. Sample answer: cost of capital is the minimum return a business must earn to satisfy its investors and lenders. It includes cost of debt and cost of equity, combined as WACC, weighted average cost of capital. It's important because companies use WACC to evaluate projects. If a project returns more than WACC, it creates value. If not, it destroys value. This makes cost of capital the benchmark for all major decisions. What do you understand by SAP ERP validations in an IT company? Advice while answering: show that you understand the purpose, accuracy, controls, workflow integrity. Sample answer: ERP validations are system checks that ensure data is accurate and consistent before processing. For example, not allowing an invoice without a PO, or preventing GL postings to incorrect cost centers. In an IT/ERP role, validations help maintain internal controls, reduce manual errors, and ensure financial data flows correctly across modules like FI, CO, MM, and SD. End. Give an example of how technology, data analytics, automation is changing the accounting profession. Advice while answering. Interviewers want awareness of modern finance, not textbook answers. Sample answer. Technology is shifting accountants from manual work to analysis. For example, automation tools now handle reconciliations, invoice matching, and repetitive journal entries. Data analytics tools like Power BI allow quick dashboards that highlight risks or trends. This frees CAs to focus on insights, business partnering, and process improvement. How do you ensure confidentiality and data integrity in finance roles? Advice while answering. Think. Access control, documentation, compliance, ethical standards. Sample answer. I ensure confidentiality through restricted access, secure file handling, and avoiding sharing sensitive data over unsecured channels. For data integrity, I follow maker-checker controls, maintain proper audit trails, and verify data before posting. I also adhere to professional ethics. Confidentiality is a core CA responsibility. What is a business partner in an FP&A type role, and what would you bring to that role? Advice while answering. Show that FP&A is not just reporting, it's collaboration plus insights. Sample answer. A business partner works closely with departments like sales, supply chain, and HR to help them make financial decisions. They translate numbers into insights and guide budgets, forecasts, and actions. I bring structured thinking, clear communication, and the ability to simplify financial data. I enjoy solving problems and working cross-functionally, which is exactly what FP&A needs. If given a client with multiple subsidiaries, how would you consolidate financials? Advice while answering. Show the consolidation logic. Eliminate intra-group items and combine statements. Sample answer. My approach is 1. Collect trial balances of all subsidiaries. 2. Convert them into uniform accounting policies and reporting dates. 3. Eliminate intra-company transactions like group sales, loans, and balances. 4. Add the assets, liabilities, income, and expenses line by line. 5. Recognize non-controlling interest if applicable. The goal is to present the group as one single economic entity. How do you ensure your work complies with ethical requirements and regulations? Advice while answering. Highlight ICAI Code of Ethics, integrity, objectivity, confidentiality, professional behavior. Sample answer. I follow ICAI's Code of Ethics, focusing on integrity and objectivity in every task. I ensure my work is supported by evidence, comply with accounting standards, and maintain proper documentation. If I face a gray area, I escalate it to seniors instead of guessing. Ethics is non-negotiable because financial statements influence major decisions. What are some recent regulatory changes you're aware of, and how do they affect business? Advice while answering. Pick 1 to 2 areas: GST, company law, tax, audit standards. Keep it simple and practical. Sample answer. Recent changes like e-invoicing expansion under GST have increased compliance discipline and reduced input credit mismatches. Another example is changes in CARO reporting, which require auditors to report more detailed information on internal controls and whistleblower cases. These changes push companies to strengthen systems and improve governance. Describe your articleship experience. Key clients, responsibilities, major learnings, and one improvement you drove. Advice while answering. This is usually the make or break question. Keep your structure. Clients, responsibilities, learnings, impact. Sample answer. I worked with clients in manufacturing, services, and trading. My responsibilities included statutory audit sections, GST workings, testing controls, and preparing schedules for financials. My major learnings were documentation discipline, variance analysis, and cross-functional communication. One improvement I drove was redesigning the audit request list for a major client. This reduced delays and helped us close the audit 3 days earlier. Overall, Articleship gave me strong fundamentals and confidence to handle real-world finance work. Thank you for watching, and I hope this session helped you prepare with more confidence and clarity. Feel free to explore our other content to sharpen your skills even further. And all the very best for your campus placements. You've got this!